So when everything happened in September, I had been a pistol permit holder for quite a while, and I saw what happened. And I said, I thought to myself, I said, number one, I'm an American. Did Americans at the Battle of Concord run away from the British? Is that what they did? Oh, the British are coming. Quick, let's free to a free country. Mm-hmm. No, they stood their grounds.
Made a free country.
One of my ancestors signed the Declaration of Independence. His name is on there, Thomas Fitzsimon. He could have been put to death.
Yeah.
And we're talking, these guys are a group of young 20-somethings, and they put not just, oh, I could lose my job, or, oh, I don't have a lot of free time. They could have lost their house, their jobs, their livelihood. Then their families could have been put to death. And they said, you know what? I'm standing up for what's right, and that's what I believe in. Because they didn't wait for somebody else to stand up and do something. So I reached out, been a member of FPC and Second Amendment, as well as GOA for quite a while, which if you're not, should, because it helps with things like this, which is really good. I reached out to them. I contacted them via email. I didn't hear anything right away. So then I reached out again. I'm like, hey, if you guys are looking to do something about this, I am here. I am willing to stand up, go on trial, give testimony in what I believe. And they reached out to me. They interviewed me, to make sure that what I was saying was true, them legitimate, that I don't have a criminal record, but I'm not a scumbag. And at that point, they started the paperwork and all that. We, had to give testimony, had to do a deposition for hours on end with the Attorney General for Erie County on behalf of the New York State Attorney General. Legal team with FPC and SAF, they did fantastic work. And look where we are now.
That's super cool. Can you summarize that for people that don't know? Where are we?
So originally CCIA passed, you basically could carry in your house and driving around in your car. That's essentially what it turned into for pistol permit holders.
And that was, so if you were to go into a business, you'd see a lot of businesses that would have a sign that says, concealed carry is welcome here, which you'd never see that before. I mean, sometimes you would. You'd see the green check mark, maybe. You'd see a lot more of guns are not welcome or permitted in certain premises. But yeah, before the CCIA, you could carry, federal buildings, of course. Government buildings, you couldn't do it. But as long as there wasn't a sign prohibiting it, you could carry in there.
It was, once you had a permit in New York State, outside of New York City and the 5 boroughs, you actually had some of the greatest concealed carrying privileges, which I don't like to use that word, but for lack of a better word,
it's a right.
In New York State, depending on the county, Erie County, for example, you could even carry into bars as long as you weren't drinking alcohol. Yeah. You could carry just about everywhere except for a few, like airports, schools, government buildings. That was it. Everything else was you were good to go.
Taxes.
Rest stops too,
which is amazing because that's more than even Texas allows. And so what happened was one law, one swoop of a pen, it all went away. You couldn't defend yourself. With the current injunction that was issued, it affected a couple different things. One was the Hardaway case. And again, I'm not a lawyer. That's what I have people. I do got to preface that. The Hardaway part of the injunction, and that's the name of the case, allows for carry in churches, synagogues, mosques. So if you're going to practice your religion, you can carry there. There's another one, I don't remember of it, but that was the social media one, meaning if you're going through the permit process, they cannot ask for your social media information to check your social media. My case, and it's also mirrored with the Antoniak case, that specifically was about the bulk of the CCIA. Private property restrictions, sensitive area restrictions, as well as public transportation. Right now, sensitive locations are still not allowed, no matter what. Nobody has a choice in the matter. You can't carry there. Public transportation for subways is still off limits. Private property, businesses that are open to the public. So any business, you want to go to Walmart, you want to go to Target, Wegmans, Tops, any store, you can carry. If it's private property not open to the business, so somebody's house, that still is not allowed. But that is opened up. So think of it in the sense of transactional activities. You're going about your day-to-day life. You're running errands, you're running to the store, you're going to the car dealership to get your car serviced. That is back to the way it was. If you're going for social events, bars, sporting events, clubs, movie theaters, parks, anything social in that sense, that's still sensitive area, still off limit, no go.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize that you basically can't go out to dinner carrying a firearm anymore unless you go to a place that does not serve alcohol.
So McDonald's is okay.
So there you go. Yeah.
You can go to McDonald's. Yeah. So Valentine's Day is coming up. Hit the dollar menu up, guys.
Is it the $3 menu now? $2?
Yeah, for real.
Okay, so
Value
bring,
menu. It's the
bring
value
$6
menu.
and
Yeah.
get her 2 nice things. Who doesn't want McFlurry?
But that's, I was talking to, we have somewhat of a liaison, a connection in the state police for gun dealer type questions. And one of the questions that I had, we're going through a rebuild right now, and there's a lot of ranges out west and various other spots, of the country, where they'll have somewhat of a bar attached right to the club. I mean, every gun club around here is a bar with a range out back, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of places that do it, and they do it safely. They have controls. As soon as you buy a beer, you're locked out of the range for the rest of the day. Like there's safe ways to do it, especially now with modern POS systems. It's not that hard. So anyways, I called the liquor authority just to ask, like, hey, is there any reason this wouldn't work? And then I called the troopers to ask, like, hey, because we're like an FFL, is there any reason this wouldn't work? Because I didn't know if you're a police officer, you can't be any part of an ownership of a bar or have a liquor license, right? So I was just like, it's a weird little old timey rule like that. And the trooper goes, well, yeah, it's a sensitive location, right off the top of right off the bat. And I was like, I wasn't even thinking in that mindset, but of course it would be.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, not a lawyer, but I stayed at a Motel 6, right? What was it? Holiday Inn Express. So I was like, what if you're in like a strip mall, right? And there's a gun shop, and then there's a bar right next to it. Totally okay. That could be a scenario that exists within the law. And I was like, because that's kind of the scenario that it would be. Like, I'm the landlord, I own the strip mall, I happen to own the gun shop, and I happen to own the bar too, but they're like 2 legally distinct entities. And he's like, yeah, that would work. I'm not a lawyer, of course, and we're talking about things like that. And that law came up, and I said, well, before your injunction, and I said, well, what about, carrying, or how do you get permission in that sense? And he's like, well, the way the top down interpreted it in New York State, you couldn't even go, say you had a business at a strip mall, a gun store, right? Obviously the gun store allows carry, but the owner of that strip mall, the parking lot, there's no signs that say concealed carry welcome on these premises. So you could not enter and park even though the place you're going to, you're okay and legal to carry there. Where you entered, like that parking lot, is not okay. This is before your case at its victory. But just absolute, they don't think when these politicians pass these kind of laws. I mean, they don't think anyways, but especially at that point, they don't think the logistics of normal people's day to day.